Welcome to episode 97 of Let's Talk Geek. In the show today, games, more games after E3. The oatmeal turns a legal threat into a fundraiser, and Google Mapmaker is available in South Africa, while Apple abandons Google Maps for its new iOS 6 Maps app. Thank you for watching. Welcome to episode 97 of Let's Talk Geek. Thanks for watching. In the show today is me, Jan.
James Etherington Smith.
Gerrit.
Jeremy Proom.
Cool. Thanks for joining us. And the random for the show is an ox, also known as a bullock in Australia, New Zealand, and India, is a bovine trained as a draft animal. Oxen are commonly castrated adult male cattle. Castration makes the animals more tractable. Cows, adult females, or bulls, intact males, may also be used in some areas. I actually learned today that tractable means it makes them more docile, easier to handle. That's what I learned out of this random today.
And this is our random because?
Okay, because 97 is the letter A in ASCII, on the ASCII table. The letter A, the earliest representation of it comes from the Phoenician alphabet, which no citation provided on the Wikipedia article comes from the shape of a bull's head from Egyptian hieroglyphics.
And I'm willing to say that that is the most random piece we've had on a Let's Talk Geek show so far.
Is this the origin of the pejorative term bollocks? Perhaps. You know, I mean, it all makes sense.
Why not? I thought it just meant kahunas. Anyway. But yeah, while we're at it, you can join us if you're watching the live show. You can join us in IRC. There's a neat little button on the website. You pop out chat or video and chat, or if you've got an IRC client, irc.ltnet.tv/join #LTNet and stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Cool. We've got two guests with us today. If you haven't noticed, that's pretty rad. In one corner, James.
Yes. Hi.
Oh, where are you from?
My Gaming.
Okay, cool. What do you do there?
I am the editor of My Gaming, and we talk about games all day long.
That sounds like the best job in the world.
It's a lot of fun, yeah.
Cool. In the other corner,
we have Jeremy.
Jeremy, what do you do?
I'm a writer at My Gaming.
Cool.
Writing news, reviews, everything gaming related.
Cool. You do some stuff on my broadband as well?
I do some tech news and some quick news, anything interesting going on, yeah.
Cool. All right, so I hear that the big news of the week is E3.
Yep.
All right, so when did that go down?
Last week, Monday, which was, I forget the dates now. It began last week, Monday, and ended on the Wednesday, I think.
Okay.
And there was a whole lot of news coming out of E3, so... I mean, to cover it all is actually insane. I mean, we spent sleepless nights following all the news.
Yeah. All right, so while we're talking about events coming up, we've got a couple of events bombed into the show notes. So, let's run through them. These are in South Africa. So the first one is MSSA StarCraft. What's that about?
Yeah, the MSSA has teamed up with Polar Fluke, who have been on the StarCraft 2 competitive gaming scene from day one, and the guys have worked really hard. And now the MSSA, which is Minesweeper South Africa, the official guys appointed by the Olympic Committee of the South African government, or however it goes, to run the electronic gaming side of things. So they've teamed up, and they're going to hold online championships, and the winners can get provincial colors out of this, so you can be a official South African professional esports representative. And this also gets you into the qualifying rounds to represent the country at the International Esports Federation event happening in Korea this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Where you're going to lose to Koreans.
Probably. But at least you'll get to go to Korea.
Get to go to Korea.
Pretty cool.
That's pretty rad. I mean, I'd be stoked to get my StarCraft game live. What do they call it? When these funny commentators
talk? Shoutcasting.
Shoutcasting,
yes.
yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of personalities around that now, so yeah, looking good.
Yeah, cool. All right, MM Game Zone's got King of the Console coming up.
Yeah, just a little fun thing from them. If you're watching live, you've got less than, I think, 3 hours now to go and register if you think you've got what it takes, but they're basically hosting a Modern Warfare 3 event, Xbox players versus PS3 players, to decide once and for all which console is the best, Xbox or PS3.
Where's this being held?
It's starting on the 17th, I think. They're having the elimination rounds, and then later on they're having the final, and it's happening at the M Cave in Cape Town, and there's a whole ton of money involved, prizes and so on.
That's cute.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not just for bragging rights. The guys can actually win some prizes, which is cool as well.
Looking a little bit further, further ahead, much further ahead. Cape Town's getting a gaming expo.
Yeah, GameX has recently been revealed by the guys. Not too much details on that at the moment. It's just an idea, but they're confident enough to have hosted a website about it and have now sort of announced that it's happening in April next year in Cape Town. Cape Town will get its first big gaming expo event.
That's cool. And so this is like a direct competitor
to
I guess
Rage.
So. Well, direct in the sense that it's also a gaming expo, not so direct.
In South Africa.
In the sense that it's 1,000 kilometers away from Rage.
Exactly. And, the Rage guys have previously said that they don't want to, go to Cape Town because they don't think it's feasible for them. So the guys organizing GameX are, clearly taking that chance. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. Yeah.
Absolutely. It'll be really cool to see that, whether there is a market for two big gaming expos in South Africa. All right. So while we're talking about events that happen very far in the future, this isn't that far in the future, but if, on the official Google Africa blog, they announced the 2012 Google Apps Developer Challenge. And the submissions open on the 24th of August, I believe, if I read correctly. So, South African devs, get your dev on.
And I think they're focusing on, is it Apps Engine, Drive, and there's one more, which I can't remember now. So they're focusing on those types of apps. Yeah, go check it out.
Yeah, I did see mention of enterprise-y apps as well. I don't know if I just misread there, but it sounded like there was a category for focusing on enterprise stuff as well. So if that's your bag, and I know a lot of South African developers are locked up in corporate day jobs.
Pitch that to them.
Yeah. All right. So then on the press calendar, for those who don't know, I write for my broadband. We've got a bit of a My Star Publishing House show going on today. But that means that we get a lot of invitations to things, which means we know about a lot of launches. So just to give you a rundown of what's going on there, the Nokia Lumia 900 is being launched on the 19th of June. Just to be clear, these are the launch events. Just because these are the dates of launch events does not mean that that's the day the device becomes available. Samsung had a launch event for the Samsung Galaxy S3 on the 7th of June. Vodacom started offering it on the 29th of May already. These things don't always match up. Exclusives is launching a social online book buying thing called Stickers. The event at least is called Stickers on the 21st of June. The Huawei Ascend P1 launch is also on the 21st of June. There's a Toshiba Macer event on the 21st of June. Somebody else invited me, I think Lenovo or somebody invited me to an event on the 21st of June. The 21st of June is now booked, people. There's no more room on that day to have events.
What is so
in South
special
Africa.
about the 21st of June? It's a Thursday. Well done, guys. Anyway,
no, it's strange. Anyway, so that's it for the press calendar. So we can move straight into the topics. E3. Before I got such wildly segued, it wasn't just about games. There was hardware there as well. So what went down there? What would be your hardware pick, Jeremy?
I think in terms of the hardware stuff, there wasn't a lot this year. I think given that usually there is quite a lot of hardware stuff being announced. But Microsoft opened up their show at their press conference and announced the Microsoft SmartGlass, which is basically they're integrating tablets into the gaming experience. So you can utilize your iPad or Galaxy Tab to supplement a gaming experience. They haven't given
and iPad. Are they going to support Apple products?
They said they've announced tablets. No particulars yet, but we assume if they were going to, that would be the best.
Yeah, they'd
best
have to
step
pick
to
the
take.
dominant one, right?
Yeah. So they haven't shown how these are actually going to be used in any gaming practicality, but. I think they've seen what Nintendo are doing with the Wii U, and they want to jump on that bandwagon and get involved with a dual-screen gaming experience.
Just like to throw in there, you can also control the sort of Xbox Media Center using your device as well, so you can lounge on the couch and control things.
So it turns like a full-on Xbox remote.
Yeah, sort of to navigate, and you know how Xbox Live has far more content in other regions than in South Africa. So if you're using Netflix and Hulu and all that sort of stuff, it might be a cool way to interact with it. Control it from the other end of the house. If you have a party, you're outside, quickly change the track on your Xbox through your phone. Cool stuff like that.
That does sound cool. It also does sound a lot like, they're trying to, it's like a Me Too to the Wii U.
Absolutely, yeah. And also Sony was on the bandwagon there, although I suppose they were positioned with it with the Vita in the first place. You can now use that thing as a secondary remote, and it's obviously got a touch screen.
For the
PS3. Yeah, so you will be able to control games on the PS Vita screen. There are no games that have that functionality yet, but I'm sure developers will hop on that now that the opportunity is there. It's a bit of an expensive additional remote control, though, about $3,000 for the PS Vita.
Yeah. So what's the Wii U set to cost?
We don't know yet. So, it's all speculation at this point.
Yeah, because the rad thing about a tablet, obviously, is that's a screen that more affluent households might have already for other purposes. So being able to slap, games on there would be like being able to slap games on your old Apple II or on your old IBM PC or now on your corporate machine. It's sort of an added feature, but that's not, necessarily the only reason you got the thing.
Yeah.
So okay, cool. Is there any sort of other hardware worth mentioning at that came out of E3?
Yeah, other than the Wii U, which I think we're just going to dedicate a full conversation to just now. It was just the little hardware manufacturers off to the side, probably with booths and look at our new headphones and this mouse that we have. I think Razer had an ambidextrous mouse. Whoopee.
Well, isn't the Mamba already ambidex?
Well, obviously they got to refresh the range every now and then. So
it's not actually ambidex.
It looked pretty snazzy.
The buttons on the left.
I forget the name of the thing. Anyway.
Okay.
So nothing too major. SmartGlass, PS Vita secondary remote, and Nintendo Wii U.
Cool. Well, all right. So let's talk about the Nintendo Wii U because that seemed to impress you guys most. What is this thing? And I see certain reporters at certain prominent publications thought it was an extension to the Wii.
Was that CNN?
CNN,
yeah. The guy got the wrong end of the stick there. He thought it was sort of an upgraded controller for the existing Wii console, and he didn't quite grasp that it was a whole new console with a fancy new touchscreen remote, which is now dubbed the gamepad. Nintendo revealed, I think, at their press conference or just ahead of it.
Their pre-E3 press conference, they revealed a Pro controller, which basically is almost in the vein of the Xbox 360 design, which gives a bit of hope for the console also because it's not purely going to be a motion-based gaming experience. It looks like Nintendo are appealing to their core audience as well as people who've become accustomed to motion gaming.
Absolutely. There's some big, more, adult, if you want to call it that, AAA titles that are going to be available on there. Batman is one. Was Splinter Cell on there?
They haven't announced anything yet.
Anyway, so there's some more adult type games. It's not all cutesy Mario and stuff. So it can appeal to the whole family and not just the kids.
Yeah. I know we've got some trailers of the stuff coming on the Nintendo Wii U coming like cute. So okay, cool. I think it's playing now.
Standout titles were Zombie U, we were quite impressed with, an Ubisoft title, and it's basically a survival horror game, but it'll make use of the Wii U gamepad, the touchscreen remote, in that while you're out and about fighting off zombies and then you loot a corpse or a chest full of supplies, the secondary controller will now present to you the contents of whatever you're looting, and you'll actually have to shift the contents around to look for the useful stuff. It'll also work as your sniper rifle scope, I think, and it'll have some other functionality, I think mini-map and stuff like that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There's something, as James said, they're used for looting stuff, your inventory for hacking. You'll come across doors that need lockpicking, hacking, things like that. So, they're trying to implement like all the more mini game-ish stuff into more core games, which is good for general games.
And one of the cool things they're doing in terms of multiplayer, there'll be a zombie, I forget the name of the mode now. Anyway, the one player will take the Wii U gamepad and control the zombie hordes using it. So they'll have a top-down view, and they'll obviously sort of like a horror movie director would say, zombie horde there to attack the player. And then the other player, secondary player using the Pro gamepad, perhaps will use the main television and have to first-person fight off the zombie hordes, which sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it sounds like I get to play the director in Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, very cool game. And in terms of just a general survival horror game, it looks like fun. I guess it will be a Wii U launch title, and there is a rumor that it's going to hit other consoles maybe after a period of exclusivity on the Wii U.
I'm looking at the trailer montage we've got going there. I see Mass Effect 3 for the Wii.
Mass Effect 3 has been
more
announced
adult games.
for
There we
Wii
go.
U, yes. It should be, they said, launch window, release game, along with Assassin's Creed 3. They Darksiders 2, there's a Ninja Gaiden that they're remaking for Wii. It's not going to be the one that hit consoles that wasn't received very well. So there's a lot of third-party titles. Aliens Colonial Marines, as you're seeing right now.
That's a big one, actually.
And it utilizes also the tablet, the scanner that's synonymous with the Aliens franchise. Scanning for Aliens is now on your lap while you use the screen for
No,
your
just needs to
first-person
vibrate
action.
in your hand whenever there's movement. Weep, weep.
Exactly. So
Who knows? This
So,
might be
yeah.
the first console that I'm actually willing to buy.
Dude, all it needs is like a smart gun controller, and then you attach the Wii U to the top of that, and then like, yes.
Yeah. In terms of specs, I just want to add in there, you can use 2 gamepads, that's the touchscreen controllers, and 4 other remotes, so be it nunchuck or the Pro gamepad.
Pro controller.
Yeah. So up to 6 controllers connected there in some sort of configuration on the Wii U. And yeah, we were pretty impressed. I mean, at first it was a touchscreen game controller, what use is that going to be? But after showing at E3, I have high hopes for it, and I'm actually looking forward to getting my hands on one.
All right, so I'm going to segue us away from gaming just a little bit to talk about what's been happening in the tech space in the past week. So if you watch some of our previous shows,
I think it's 2 shows ago.
Yeah, it turns out that Microsoft was going to do the Apple thing and charge developers effectively charge developers for developing for Windows 8.
For developing specifically desktop and command line applications for Windows 8. So that was the problem. They were offering, or they were going to offer, an express version of Visual Studio, but for Metro apps only. And then the Metro apps you could only publish in the store. So you'd effectively have to pay them the $99 per year to be able to publish in the store. They've now backtracked on that one, and they're going to be offering a Visual Studio Express edition for developing desktop and command line apps, after there was obviously quite a big outcry from people going, seriously, we have to pay for development now? You're going to be killing, all of these, the modders and the tweakers and the people who just want to learn stuff, the open source development that you have going on.
You're not going to kill them. You're going to drive them to a different place. I'm already developing in Python.
Exactly.
Because...
So,
yes.
I mean, doing that type of thing would have just given people more incentive to stop developing for Windows.
I should qualify my opening statement, by the way. What I meant by the Apple thing is what Apple is doing on its App Store and what Windows Phone is doing on its App Store.
Yes.
Apple, actually, if you're developing for Mac OS X, you only have to pay them if you want to list on the
App Store.
On the Mac App Store. Absolutely. And also you can be part, if you want to get early access to new versions of Mac OS X, you can be part of the Mac OS X developer program, which costs you $100, and that gives you access to the App Store and early builds.
So the same kind of thing that
but I
Windows,
can still
that
code
Microsoft is
apps
trying to do.
and side. I can't believe I'm talking about side loading on a desktop OS.
It's,
What have you reduced me to,
always,
Microsoft?
It's always been that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't go to an app store. We're so used to just going to a website, downloading whatever you have there and installing it.
The web is the greatest app store of all time.
Yes.
Well, why?
I get the idea of the App Store. It's a great centralized repository. It's fantastic. I love how it works in Ubuntu, and I'm sure it works really great on Mac. I haven't actually used it, so it is.
It doesn't actually work that great on Mac.
Okay,
Yeah.
but in Ubuntu it works really, really nicely.
Yes,
and
because you get pushed update notifications.
That too.
That's the big thing on Mac. That's
Yes.
the only thing Mac's App Store needs. I don't get pushed update notifications.
Okay.
I've got to actually open the App Store, and then I get told if there are updates.
Okay.
It's a bit lame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that type of idea I really enjoy. But forcing me to pay to be able to publish in there and having no other way to actually publish your app, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that they've decided to just sort of at least backtrack on their previous attitude.
Some more news in the tech space now coming to South African news is Google Map Maker has come to South Africa, and I've got it's a cool thing, and I've also got a bit of a beef with it. And it comes from my days as working in the sort of GIS environment. You know,
What is, I haven't actually read the article. What does MapMaker let you do?
MapMaker lets you map areas that are not in Google Maps, and then Google incorporates it into their data set, and now it's available in Google Maps.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, sounds rad. Now, my problem with that from a function basis, it's really cool, you know. But the problem is Google is a multi-billion-dollar company now. This is not some startup I'm helping out or some cool new slick service, you know, that's offering me something, you know, kiff and new and fancy that nobody else does, and they're really sticking it to the man. This is Google, and it is massive, and they're not opening up like once you've put this data in the system, you know, you can't get it back out again. This isn't an open source mapping. This isn't OpenStreetMap.
Yes.
So, for example, if you were to do mapping for OpenStreetMap, that data becomes accessible to the world and freely downloadable. So, for people to put into their own apps, modify as they will, Google Maps is only available freely for you to code against for non-commercial use. The second you want to make money off of it, off of data you help them gather, you have to pay them or negotiate some sort of deal.
So what's your incentive for doing this then?
The kindness of your heart. Is what it sounds
Community
like.
contribution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there doesn't really seem to be much of a contribution other than, you know, an area that you really want mapped in Google isn't mapped. I mean, especially if you're a business. Right, imagine that. So you're a business, and I think in future it can really, maybe not in South Africa as it is right now, but during the World Cup, at least, this would have been a handy feature. You know, if you've got a business, it's off the beaten path, and you really want people to be able to discover you through Google Maps, then you know that's
that makes sense.
To go map it. But from people who are actually cartographers, people who actually work in geographic systems, it's almost a slap in their face. It's like, give us your content for free, please. Which that just doesn't gel with me, and it's been a criticism of Google Map Maker for a while. This was, by the way, how they mapped a lot of areas, I believe, in India. And so people from the OpenGeo community went, this is a really cool initiative, can we get that data, please? Because we'd really like to incorporate that data into our own data sets. Nope.
No dice.
Nope. So I've got a little bit of a beef there. Then in other maps news, Apple has
decided to move away from Google Maps
Yeah.
in iOS 6.
Yeah. So this comes from the Worldwide Developer Conference, and I think it would be remiss of us not to
At least mention
WWDC. And so two particular things stood out for me, and the one I'm going to focus on is maps. And because we're talking about mapping now. So iOS 6 is going to get this new Maps app that they said they built from the ground up. It was kind of assumed that they were moving away from Google because they said from the ground up, but nobody really had confirmation at that stage. And then people started installing the beta, and they started using Maps, and they saw that the data provider is TomTom. So TomTom issued a statement yesterday confirming this and saying they won't say anything more. They've signed a global agreement with Apple. We say nothing more, thanks. So I contacted TomTom through our South African contact to find out, you know, whether their South African data set was going to be available in iOS 6, if this would include traffic, if this would include business listings. Because for those of you who know about the Apple ecosystem, they've introduced Siri, which has a feature called Local Search, which lets you talk to your device and go, hey, where's a cool restaurant I can go eat? And then Siri does what a thing called Local Search to find local business listings and comes back with a star rating and the whole 9 yards. But we don't have that in South Africa because there are no local listings here yet. There's no data set. So TomTom...
But TomTom does have a data set.
TomTom, in its GPS systems, available in South Africa, has a data set. It has probably the best live traffic on a GPS in the country.
Agreed.
And having that on your iPhone, that's a major selling point in South Africa because nobody else bundles traffic with a smartphone. Google has turn-by-turn navigation now. No traffic yet.
And Nokia has, Nokia Windows phones and Nokia Symbian phones did have maps with also turn-by-turn navigation and offline availability, which is something Google is sort of working on.
Yeah.
And I'm also not sure about iOS.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing iOS is doing is it's not including transit maps, transit as in public transportation, directly in the API. They're like, it's sort of they're throwing a bit of a bone to developers, and they're saying, you guys build really cool transit apps already, so we're going to allow you to plug into Maps, and we will advertise your app from within Maps. Now, I hope there's more of a sort of a bilateral API thing going on there, so that, for example, Gautrain can plug into the Maps API and provide it with information, and somebody else, like say there's a Metrorail app or a who knows if it's organized enough, but a taxi app.
Federation app.
And then you go, I want to go from here to there.
Or
and
the
then
Metro bus and the Putco bus,
exactly.
those types of things.
And then that Maps thing is able to query all those apps and plot your route via transit with fees. That would be awesome. I'm not holding my breath.
It's
but
ambitious,
that would be
but
awesome.
it's a good idea.
Being able to plug into all those third-party transit apps to make that happen. And that is something not any of the other platforms do. They all handle transit on their own.
And there is an app idea for some iOS developer out there. Go do that. People will pay for it.
Yes, it's also a full-time job. Good luck trying to get all these schedules.
Taxi schedules.
And
good
the
one,
prices.
yeah.
Even the bus
The bus is a bit
schedules.
erratic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also think like the likelihood of a smartphone user using a taxi is far less than them using a bus, I'd wager. Yeah, I guess. All right, so with that, back into games. So what were the coolest games at E3, James?
Well, for me, while I was watching the various press conferences as they happened, Ubisoft's Watchdogs stood out.
Cool, we've got
Jeremy's
a trailer for that.
nodding
I think,
vigorously over there.
Agreed.
He agrees with me. We're both very excited about that. Watchdogs is they haven't revealed too much information, but the setting is sort of a near future. I think it was Chicago. It was set in. Is that right? I can't quite remember. Anyway, let's say near future American city.
It looks like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, sure. It's very clearly a third-person action-adventure type game. I mean, there's a mini-map in the bottom right there. They're actually still hiring GUI artists and all sorts of stuff. I mean, this is very much a game in development, but they had some footage to show us, and this is the third part of the last third part of the gameplay footage they showed. And basically, the setting is near future. There's a guy who has access to all the systems of America. Everything's linked nowadays, and in the near future, the traffic lights, the transport systems, the flipping adverts on the billboards, on the buildings, everything is interconnected all through one system. Now, this guy has access to it, and he's using it to further his own ends. He's on the hunt for somebody who has done wrong by him. They didn't reveal too much information about the characters. I mean, we don't even know this guy's name yet. And you see him, first of all, walk into a nightclub, and he causes some distractions, and he uses his cell phone to triangulate information from all the other cell phone users and find his target. And then, as you can see in this video, he's caused an accident by shutting down the traffic lights, and everyone crashed into one another, and his target is now trapped in one of the cars, and he's busily dispatching of the bodyguards. And
this guy doesn't seem to have much of a conscience. I mean, he's killed like 12 people in this accident alone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's collateral damage, for sure. He did rescue the one character in the car. I mean, I don't know.
Did he rescue the one?
Yeah,
just
the one guy was shot.
It
It was actually quite cool. I mean, as I say, we don't know much about how much of this is dynamic and how much is scripted. But one of the passenger in the car was killed by a straight bullet. The driver was going, "Oh no, my friend," trying to see if he's still alive. The protagonist, in the game here dragged him out of the vehicle to get him out of the line of fire, and now he's busily killing all the bad guys.
This game looks so cool. I don't know if you remember Hackers, the 1990s movie Hackers. Like there's a scene in there as well where they've got to make their way to their hacking location in Grand Central Station, and the main hacker wrote this thing to take control of the New York City traffic lights. I mean, that's just awesome. I've always wanted to do that.
Certainly, possibly inspired from there. So here he is, delivering his message to the bad guy here. The developers have said, pretty much. The developers have said that this is only one of the ways this could have played out. He could have just simply tracked the bad guy's vehicle to his apartment and then killed him in his apartment somehow. So supposedly very open world, sort of open-ended gameplay type. And then the pivotal moment in this trailer comes soon. Now he's trying trying to escape the scene, and you'll see it'll cut away to his accomplices, who the game now actually puts you into their shoes, and you have to assist his getaway. Now, does this mean it's a multiplayer game where many people are taking on roles, or is it just a single-player game where you switch between characters and it's just a way of driving the story forward? Lots of potential, very exciting stuff. So we'll see. We'll see where this takes us when they actually give us more information.
Just refresh my memory. Who's making this game?
This is Ubisoft. Ubisoft Montreal is assisting with Ubisoft Reflections. Ubisoft Reflections is known for
the Driver
San
series.
Francisco,
yeah.
And Montreal worked on Assassin's Creed. So two very good developers there.
Jeremy, you mentioned that there are rumors around Watchdogs really being something else.
Yeah, there's a lot of internet talk. Just given the way the game looks, the user interface, a lot of people are saying it's Assassin's Creed 4, hidden by Ubisoft very cleverly as Watchdogs, which will be revealed later. I don't know if there's any credibility to those claims.
I would have much preferred this setting to the American Civil War setting, to be completely honest, of Assassin's Creed 3.
Well, I'm all right with Assassin's Creed 3, so we can get into that one later.
Yeah.
This time, well, I mean, it's I think the fact this game basically stole the show at E3. I think there was a general consensus that this was the best game in the show, and the thing that made it, I think, so exciting was that nobody knew that this was in existence whatsoever. I mean, usually in press conferences like this, they would start a tech demo or something, and it looked like that at first, and suddenly you could see it was being controlled, user interface popped up. So yeah, I mean, it looks like Assassin's Creed mixed with Deus Ex, mixed with a Hitman game, a bit of GTA, everything. So yeah, like as James mentioned, there's lots of ways to take down your targets. We don't really know why yet, or what the reasons are behind it.
But the Assassin's Creed reasons also sort of,
very convoluted.
Yeah, well,
but
bad man.
Yeah, exactly.
Take out.
So, and obviously it uses we assume it uses a lot of the same technology they used to build Assassin's Creed. You can see the way the animations work and stuff. But the fact that it's a new IP, I think, is exciting. It's one of the very few new IPs that we saw at the show.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Most of it was sequels.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one thing.
Isn't that sort of the nature of the industry, though?
It is. To jump back a little bit like to the Wii, I was a little disappointed, at Nintendo not showing any launch titles that are really utilizing the Wii U. We saw there's a new Super Mario, but it's reiterations of things we've actually seen before. It would have been nice to see a 3D Mario or a new AAA title. People were expecting a Zelda. We didn't get any of that, so give props to Ubisoft for trying something new and showing something different.
I just hope that they don't have always on DRM in this.
It's Ubisoft, so don't hold your breath.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but this wasn't the only game at the show,
and not the only new IP. I mean, the other one we want to talk about is The Last of Us. Jeremy, you want to run us through that?
Yeah, well, The Last of Us, Sony kicked off their press conference and showed off The Last of Us, which is basically a new PS3 exclusive. Being developed by Naughty Dog, obviously the guys behind the Uncharted series, which is one of the most highly acclaimed series this generation. This time around, though, the game takes it doesn't follow the over-the-top actiony movie cinematic feel of Uncharted. It's more of a realistic, gritty. Basically the story is it's set in a post-apocalyptic setting where a viral outbreak, I don't want to say zombie, but it's along those lines, has kind of destroyed Middle America. And you have your protagonist, his name's Joel, who's paid to take this young girl, Ellie, as you see in the video at the moment, across America. And obviously, it's not like Uncharted, no regenerating health, no bad guys with millions of guns, millions of bad guys. This is like a down-to-earth, based in reality, given the outcomes game. So basically the game is like, as you can see, the settings are gorgeous. It utilizes like an inventory system. So you pick up bottles, you pick up different items that you can use either for your good or for taking out enemies. And basically the game's it's hard to stick into a genre, but it looks like a survival horror adventure. You'll see in the demonstration just now, if we get to that point, where you'll encounter enemies and you can obviously sneak around them if you want. And the developers have shown that you can not engage in any enemy fire or enemy combat, or you can take them on and use your items either to create a Molotov cocktail or something else to take them on. And Naughty Dog are using an animation system that's evolved from the Uncharted melee system. I'm sure lots of people are familiar with it, which you'll see now. They say it calculates where objects are in the room and uses them in combat. So you'll see Joel, the protagonist, take an enemy's head and ram it into a bookshelf, or hit him with something else in the room instead of just punching him, flopping against the wall.
What I particularly like in this scene here that we're showing is how gritty and visceral it is. I mean, it's not just a simple choke maneuver and that's it. The guy fights back and he's sort of clawing at Joel.
Yeah, I think James has mentioned an important point. It's not they're trying to move away from just mowing down hundreds of enemies. A game like Max Payne, as good as it was, by the end of it you're a bit fatigued from killing everyone. This they want a bit of emotional weight to how you kill enemies. I mean, there's a scene where you'll see the choking scene that was just shown. I mean, the guy's clawing at your face. Are
these zombies?
These are not zombies. These are armed enemies, also survivors from the outbreak, but everyone's kind of every man for himself at this point in time. You will encounter characters that may help you or may assist you in your travels, but you're obviously going to come across people who are out for their own good and may be wanting to get your supplies and will basically kill you to get them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We are running a little bit short of time, so perhaps just one other game worthy of a mention. I have been watching the new Tomb Raider game with some. And to put this in context, I never played the original Tomb Raider games. The first Tomb Raider game I really played was that orthogonal isometric.
Guardian of Light.
Guardian of Light, yeah. And played that multiplayer with my significant other. And that was a whole lot of fun. And this particular
this is completely different. This is a reboot. This is an origin story for Lara Croft. Everyone's familiar with her. She's she's not as sexualized as she was in previous games. Almost to the detriment. There's a bit of a controversy brewing around it because they showed at E3 an attempted rape scene. I mean, Lara, it's far more grittier and darker storyline than before. So as I say, origin story for Lara. She's involved in a shipwreck off the coast of Japan, and she has to fight for her survival on this island. And of course, there's all sorts of things going on the island, enemies to encounter and stuff, and obviously a very tombs to raid and a gripping story to uncover. There's apparently an attempted rape scene, and the developer Crystal Dynamics explained that they wanted you to really feel for Lara. They wanted you to really feel for this character, not just think of her as boobs with guns, and actually become involved in her story and the gameplay as well. Looks like a lot of fun. Typical sort of third-person action platformer. Lara's got a bow. She's got a hunting bow and a climbing axe, like an ice pick axe that she has with her. And obviously, this is going to come into action for melee combat and stuff like that. As you can see. Platforms are PC, Xbox, and PS3 at this stage. Was it a Wii U type?
I'm not sure if there's a Wii U confirmation at the moment, but we assume that this will head to Wii U eventually.
Yeah, and it's a bit open world apparently. You will have to search out supplies. Obviously, there's probably going to be story sort of waypoints along the way. I mean, you have to drive the story forward, but you will have moments where you have to just search for supplies, get your camp in order, stuff like that, so you can survive the night. If we do have time, maybe I can quickly run through Assassin's Creed then. It was another one that
that
I was excited about because I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, as are you actually. We often have long conversations about what's going on in Assassin's Creed. What I liked about this one is the free flow combat is looking much improved. There's a new protagonist, of course. It's Connor. He's set in during the American Revolutionary War, and he's an American Indian and sort of, I think, was it a British? I can't remember. He's a mixed race, so American Indian guy, and obviously the whole convoluted Assassin's Creed storyline will come into play. But basically, in terms of gameplay, snow and environment effects have been added. As you can see, Connor's dashing through the snow here, chasing some deer. He's going to kill one of them and return the meat to a local camp. It's one of the side quests you can do. Obviously, get a reward from them for doing that. He then will move on to fighting a group of guards, where you'll see some cool free flow combat, which has been much improved, and the chasing sequences where you're chasing down your target seems to have been much improved, much more cinematic, much more flow to the way it's presented. So it's just looking very exciting, very much Assassin's Creed, but enough changes to get us all excited.
Yeah, interesting. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of the setting. It really depends on how they execute the story, because
absolutely.
I mean we've just had Avatar. I mean, we're all very familiar with the story of Pocahontas and and all that stuff. I mean, it just gets it gets very political.
Well, also, I mean, one of the reveals that, in addition to everything James mentioned, Ubisoft showed off the naval combat.
Oh, of course,
Uh,
which was kind of a complete secret. And it was basically a game unto itself. You get to control your own pirate ship, essentially, and taking on full scale naval war battles,
lining up the cannons to fire.
This is like a little mini game inside.
Yeah,
But
I
this
mean, you know
is-
how they do it in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Normally
exactly.
the chariot race scene or something like that is sort of a
But
segment.
this,
in the
this
game.
looks like a fully fledged segment of the game. Like whether it's a beginning or a scripted part, it looks like it takes a pretty decent step forward for the series, and it doesn't look like a tacked on little feature to it. It looks like they really put effort into it and made it quite an authentic naval
Yeah,
experience.
so this is one of my favorite games coming out this year. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I guess if you've got a console, cool. If you've got a PC, make peace with online DRM.
Yep, just deal with it.
Yeah.
Or don't
Ubisoft.
play it. Yeah.
I'm with the don't play camp.
All right, so I'm gonna run us through one more topic, and then I think we're gonna move on to the kicker. And because this one was so awesome, this is I think a perfect lead into a kicker. Is that for those of you who are familiar with Oatmeal, this will come as no surprise to you at all. Gerrit, what happened?
Okay, so the Oatmeal, if you're not familiar with him, he publishes some ARB comics that are hilarious because they're just so true.
And off the wall.
Yes. Okay, so he publishes a whole bunch of comics. I mean, he's put them into books, all sorts of stuff. And people have taken his comics and they put them on other third-party aggregation sites. And one of the ones that came up is FunnyJunk. And what would happen is people would post it on FunnyJunk and give no attribution. So they wouldn't say where they got it. They wouldn't put a link back to
I'm
the
looking
site.
at you, 9gag. Now you're next. Anyway, keep going.
So they do this. Obviously, he wouldn't get any links back. He wouldn't get any hits. So he's not making any money off of this. Meanwhile, FunnyJunk has loads and loads of ads on their site. So they're probably making at least some money.
Yeah,
Though
it's
this-
Google Ads, it's probably not that much.
Yeah, they say they have their own set of problems, that they're not making that much money off
You
of
don't
it.
make that much money off Google
But
Ads.
the point is still, he's not getting any of that. And he's not even getting attributed for his work. So anyway, he told them about this, and he gave them a whole long list of comics that are on the site, and they took them down, which is quite nice of them.
Well, it's a DMCA requirement. If you don't do that, they're liable.
Fantastic. So they did that. And now he's received a letter from FunnyJunk, from a lawyer representing FunnyJunk.
No, it's the same guy. The guy who owns FunnyJunk is a lawyer. If I'm
Okay,
not mistaken.
so he's received a letter from that guy asking him for $20,000 for things like defamation of character, and for saying all sorts of bad things about FunnyJunk and the site, how they run, and their business model.
And this is before FunnyJunk took down his comics, though. Like he put together a fairly scathing post, because he writes blog posts as well.
Yes.
So he put together a fairly scathing post interspersed with funny comics.
Yes.
About FunnyJunk and what FunnyJunk was doing.
Made some fun about their business model. So obviously they didn't take
Yeah.
it too well. They've sent him a letter asking for $20,000, and his response to that was obviously in his awesomeness, he made another blog post about it with a couple of funny pictures.
And he dissected this lawyer's letter.
And underlined certain sections just to point out and just pointed out to them that what they're saying makes absolutely no sense. And he said, okay, fine. He will somehow raise the money. He's going to ask the community for the money, and then he's going to take a photo of the money when he has it, and he's going to mail the photo to the guy and donate the money to charity.
2 charities, I believe.
Yes.
The one is cancer research.
Yep.
And the other one?
Was for... Man, now I can't remember. It had
can't
something to do
remember,
with bears.
Oh, yeah.
National Wildlife Federation.
National, yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Um,
So one environmental donation and one
cancer,
health
yes.
donation.
And So he put this online, posted a link on his website, and asked people to donate money. He had the $20,000 within an hour. Within a day, he had raised $100,000, which he's going to be donating to charity.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff.
And I just thought that was so awesome.
Yeah, that was a funny story I read this week.
I just
as well,
also,
yeah.
you know, I see these things pop up. I'm like, okay, it's the oatmeal. I know I'm going to be spending some time reading this. And eventually I go, okay, fine. Now I just have to look. What on earth is he doing this time? And I packed out laughing.
Now, for those of you doubting the Oatmeal's geek credentials, there have been some comments from RC that I think are just worth mentioning. Is there is a comic on the Oatmeal comparing Tesla to Edison and explaining why Nikolai Tesla is just better than Thomas Edison in every way.
Yes.
And if you're not a geek, you just can't
I
appreciate
think he
that.
also links to a book which would explain exactly his viewpoint on why he thinks so.
Yeah.
Which is also quite cool.
Right, so that's not the only funny stuff we've got lined up for the show today. Minesweeper scratch cards.
True story.
What on earth? We've always been joking about Deathmatch Minesweeper.
We've
but-
always been joking, except there is, I know I've seen it somewhere, there is a multiplayer Minesweeper of some sort, but it's really just 2 Minesweeper windows and you get to play in the first one who finishes, you know. Fantastic, you win. So in this case, a company has decided that they want to bring Minesweeper to the masses. And in order to do that, we put them on scratch cards. And that's,
Okay,
that's,
well, I suppose-
like literally, you know those Ituba, old school Ituba scratch cards? That's
So
what they're going to
if
be
you
doing.
uncover a mine, you don't
Then-
win.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cards they're going to be selling for something like $2. You're going to get easy, medium, and hard varieties. And they even have stickers to represent the flags for the bombs.
Wow.
Oh my
And then
word.
the added kicker, they double as postcards.
No.
Cool.
I think that
So we
takes
should
away.
totally get some for a mutual friend of ours. He would so appreciate
I think that takes away the anticipation of holding on your block and kind of moving.
Yeah, I mean, you get
Now
a
you-
scratch and you get to see the
yeah.
bomb, and you're like, oh.
Okay, well, maybe it's just me.
Moving along.
Yeah, then Portal Life. Portal Gun.
Portal Life.
That would be
Portal Life would be
yeah.
cool.
Portal in real life. Some guys have decided it's kind of live actiony, so they have a portal gun going. They have actual real actors, so it's a real world setting.
Clever
with a-
cinematography.
Clever cinematography
editing,
and
yeah.
some really, really awesome graphic editing that they have going there. And I think the video's on YouTube. It's in our show notes, so it'll be down in the YouTube, just in the doobly-doo down below. It'll be on the website. Check out the video. They have some really cool things going there. And they should make a Portal movie. James was asking me earlier
What
why,
would happen?
what
Yeah.
would you do? I said,
What's
I
the
don't
plot?
care. It's Portal. They should just do it. Like I said, they have some really, they have really cool effects. And
There
really
are
cool
some
editing.
really impressive fan-made Portal movies on YouTube. If you're interested,
this is
just
another
search.
one, yeah.
There's
There's
another
another
one,
one.
and there's some very, very impressive ones worth checking out.
Yeah. They did some really cool stuff with the physics, the infinite portal.
Oh yeah. Playing pranks with one another. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
You know, the types of things you would do if you had a portal gun.
Well,
Go check out the video.
outside of crime, but let's not. go
I'd
there.
use it to just get to work easily. You know, one in the
Oh,
office,
wow.
one at home.
The time you would save.
That would be amazing.
The traffic you would skip.
That would be awesome. Indeed. All right, so with that, that brings us to the end of our show, but certainly not the end of our stream. You can watch more videos that way, I think. So there's, or that way, depending on what type of, where in YouTube you are. Sometimes they're over there. Anyway, so click on those, and thank you for watching. So, but before we sign off, James, where can people find you?
Lurking on My Gaming every day, and probably best to just follow us on Twitter at My Gaming.
Cool.
Simple enough.
Jeremy?
Yeah, same. Check out My Gaming stuff, as well as if you want to follow me, it's at Jeremy Proom. Otherwise, follow My Gaming. Check out the news updates. Yeah, we've got everything that needs to be known right over there.
Cool. Proom with 2 O's and an E at the end.
And
Yes.
an M.
Like broom with a P and an E.
Cool. Gerrit.
About.me/hockeyza. Find everything you need over there.
Cool. I'm Jan Vermeulen. You can find me on mybroadband.co.za. I'm also at Jan VZ on Twitter or Jan Vermeulen on Google+. Look at the ugly mug and drag that into your circles. And with that, thank you for watching.